Alright troops, strong and conditioned, live and direct from Glasgow, Scotland. So troops, I'm going to have to come clean on something, and it has been weighing on my mind for quite a considerable amount of time. And the bombshell I am about to drop will shock you to the very core. However, there is method to my madness, and I will explain why I am making this video in due course. However, bear with me. What has happened? I've not done burpees in around 3 months. I have left the burpee train, I have vacated the station, and I have moved out into the metropolis of fitness to a certain degree. But why haven't I done burpees? Why have I decided to vacate the burpee lifestyle and search new pastures, new surroundings, new training? Well, the case in point is that I was under a massive degree of stress over the last few months, and I couldn't allocate those stress points to performing burpees. I was physically and mentally drained throughout that period, and doing burpees was a no-no for me. I lost the buzz a little bit. I just didn't have the motivation to do the burpees. And the reason being was that burpees are an extremely stressful endeavour in some respects. Now, case in point, when we perform burpee sessions, there can be a degree of anxiety that precedes the actual session. When we know we have a high number of burpees to complete, we will go into those sessions with a degree of trepidation. Over time, we can temper that anxiety, we can temper that feeling of dread, but for me, it was something that I just couldn't devote the physical and mental resources to. And I fell off the wagon. And that's something that actually occurs in fitness. You miss one training session, it becomes 2 training sessions, then it becomes 3 training sessions. The next thing you know, you've missed a week of training, which becomes 2 weeks, it becomes a month. And next time you look, you are 6 months deep and you haven't trained. You haven't trained burpees in a long time, and you fall away from them. And unfortunately, that is something which has happened to me. However, during that period, I discovered my love again for just lifting weights. And the reason being is that to me, lifting weights is not a mentally taxing physical endeavour. The pain is fleeting, whereas with burpees, the pain is enduring. And I didn't have the mental or physical faculties to devote that to burpees. So once again, I fell off the train. Now also during that time, because I had a massive workload and I had to devote my energies into other facets of my life, the idea of creating content with regards to burpees became non-existent, because I was not going through the creative process of thinking up ideas and content during the burpee process. And some people can definitely attest to this, that when they start performing burpees, their best ideas come to them during a burpee session, because it is a meditative activity. You become locked in to the activity, your mind stays focused, but moments of creativity start to just fire amongst the synapses and neurons of your brain, and you come up with your ideas. Most of the videos that I ever made came up through a burpee session, and I didn't have that creative activity to help spur on ideas. So it became a thing of, the momentum started gathering, the inertia, so to speak. I was finding it difficult to come up with ideas to create content to give to you guys. And I also had a thought at some point, and things were holding me back. One of the thoughts I had was that I think that everything that had to be said about burpees from my area of experience, it had been said. There was really nothing else I could say about that style of training. because burpees are a simple exercise. You can only squeeze a certain amount of juice out the burpee before your content is going to become extremely repetitive. And when I looked through my video history, I started to realise that my content was becoming quite repetitive in some respects, and it just wasn't really lighting a fire within me. Therefore, these things all started just clashing together, which created that sense of inertia, which meant that I just couldn't really be bothered focusing on the YouTube channel. I was taking a break. Other issues in my life needed attention. Therefore, the YouTube channel took a back seat. However, the one thing that kept me going during this process was trips to the gym, where I was keeping things simple and lifting weights again. And during that process, I started to really rediscover the reason why I got into this game, and it was through lifting weights. I started to focus on dialing in my nutrition again and trying to gain some control in my life, which weights or lifting really allows you to hone in on. My diet started to become more focused. My trips to the gym started to become more focused. I started to develop more training systems through experimentation and through just frequent trips to the gym. And I started to click onto something. I started to discover something quite productive. And it's the path that I have now decided to take at this point, because I feel it could possibly give me a new burst of inspiration in some respects with regards to the fitness content that I would like to make. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a simple man. I'm a dad and I'm just a guy who trains. I've never bullshitted people. Now, maybe sometimes I've been quite evangelical about burpees, and maybe sometimes I've became quite biased about burpees, and it's clouded my vision and it's allowed me to make decisions which weren't in the best interest of others. It was only in the best interest of promoting the burpee. Now, with that all said and done, the burpee is still a tremendous exercise. It's one that I will definitely go back to, because the way training is, you're always going to find phases that you hone in on, and that's the kind of personality that I have. The personality that becomes quite fixated on things, and when I hone in on something, that there are no half measures. I devote myself to that activity. I read ferociously in the subject. I interact with people who are also into that training endeavour, and it just starts to consume me. However, I felt that at this point in my training journey, burpees have probably been best to take a back seat, because once again, I just didn't have it in me to devote the attention and devote the energy into that training style. I was seeking a new stimulus. Now, another thing that held me back in some respects was I feel that I was becoming pigeonholed in with the burpee, and it was kind of limiting me in some respects. Now, I had like brief sort of forays into doing the weights. If you look through my back catalogue, you'll see that I always promoted weight training, but there was a hint of fear in some respects that I was going to push away the guys who originally subscribed to me because they discovered me through the burpee. But having experienced what I've experienced over the last 6 months, I don't really give a fuck anymore. I don't care about the channel in the sense where it defines me. I went through a phase in my life where it was my complete focus, and it did define me to a certain degree. The burpee defined me. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't really care. And it's not a slight on the viewers and the guys who have given me support. What I mean is I don't care about the channel enough anymore for it to influence the journey that I have decided to take. So I'll completely understand if I lose subscribers through this, because I know there will be some people out there who'll be like, fucking hell, Lee, mate, like, we're all about the burpees, why do I do the weights again? But do you know what? It's my journey. This is the path that I've chosen to take. If it blows up in my face in that respect, then so be it. However, at the same time, I also had an epiphany at some point where I've realised that in life, particularly in today's fitness sphere, that we tend to spend a lot of time focusing on our own bodies, and that is to the detriment of experiencing other facets of life. We can get completely caught up in this fitness lifestyle where we're training constantly, we are trying to better ourselves, but we kind of miss the actual joys that life brings, which is spending time with our kids, going on long walks, going to restaurants, going to museums, going on holidays. These things can take a back seat at times, and that's not what life's about, because as much as we want to preserve our body, we also want to preserve the memories and create the experiences which make us a more rounded person overall. So guys, I can only say thank you for being with me on my journey. I am sorry if I am letting anyone down, in the sense where they are expecting something from me, which I do not have it in me at this point to give to you. I will never forget what the burpee has brung to me, but in a way, it's time to open up new paths in the fitness journey and see what happens. The one thing I will say about myself is, to go back on what I said a couple of minutes ago, I'm just a simple guy that trains. I've never bullshitted you guys. I've never came on and tried to sell a product other than the books that I wrote with, say, Max or the Fitness Blitz book. But I've never sold marketing or online programs. I've never pushed stuff down your throat. I've never been about advertising. I've just always been about my experiences with fitness, what it has given me, and what I can then take with that experience and give to you guys, in the hope that one or two guys out there is inspired to take action and just make a fucking go of their lives. Anyway guys, I always get to this point where I'm thinking, I'm fucking rambling here, man. I need to just chill it out. So if you are going to stay with the channel, I really appreciate that. If you are choosing to go away from the channel because you don't like the fact that I'm probably going to take a different direction in some respects, sorry guys, sorry to let you down, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway guys, once again, hopefully I can start churning out content about my fitness journey, a realistic fitness journey for a guy who's in his now approaching late 40s, although I don't look it, I look about 27 or whatever, because I've got a good skincare routine. Anyway, listen guys, as usual, thank you for staying strong, and thank you for staying conditioned.